Hey guys, welcome back to the Top Music Attorney podcast. So I was all excited because I did the thumbnail today all by myself. I went off script and I was like, I want to try something a little bit different. And so I did the thumbnail, I did the title, and I'm excited for what we're going to go through in the show today because it's going to be a little different. And then I realized there's a typo. We try. Anyway, so I'll hopefully update that later. So if you are watching this on the recap, how you doing? Sorry you missed us on the live, but for those of you who are here on the live, you know what to do. Let me know where you're checking in from and what time is it. So we are covering some things today, and I thought I'd give you kind of a lawyer reacts because I'm trying to get more into lawyer reacts videos. I know you guys like it. And when I've done it with music videos and more entertainment specific content, you guys love it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's try to get more into that. But also, I'm going to teach you some stuff. We're going to learn some things, but I need help. So my goal with today's show is that for those of you who are here live that can give me some feedback, I need help deciding what kind of lawyer content to do. So on my channels, I have two. So I have one for my law firm, which is under Delgado Entertainment Law. That's the name of my law firm. And so we're Delgado Entertainment Law on all the social media platforms. And that one is, we're trying to do a little bit separate content. And then there's Top Music Attorney. Top Music Attorney is where I hyper-focus, of course, on music. And I am trying to help you guys with your music careers and getting you to six figures and doing all the things. So, as I'm going back to incorporating some more of my content that's a little more like fun, entertaining. I was doing that for a while and I had a bunch of content go viral and it's all super great. And then I was like, you know what? I just really want to focus on like the educational stuff. And I feel like I overcorrected. So we're going to do kind of a search on what's the best lawyer content out there. What do you guys want to see more of? And so I'll give you actually my reaction to some of the content out there, most of which I haven't seen. So we will literally be doing this live, which I think will be fun. And then also there's stuff and things going on in the news. And so we will go through all of that as well. Hey. I can't believe it's Thursday already. Honestly, I just feel like this week went by way too quickly. And there's just weeks where you just kind of face plant through everything. This was one of those weeks, but we have made it. We are here, and I'm super excited to be with you guys. Okie dokie. So I'm going to run the intro. We'll be right back, and we're just going to get into this lawyer content and see what's out in the metaverse, the universe, and the internet. I'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm Top Music Attorney Miss Crystal. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Let's go. All right, so I want to just start with taking a quick look at Top Music Attorney. We'll start with TikTok. TikTok is not the platform that I am pushing the most by any means, but yesterday I got to the office. I was like, all right, I gotta do some stuff that's not just like hard teaching. So let's take a look at what that was. All right, so we'll start with this one. This is literally me just like walking in. And for those of you in the chat, will you let me know if you can hear? So anyway, I'm just walking in. This is when the boss arrives. That's it. Very simple. Very simple. So, let me go. Yes, we can hear. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that was the first one. Very simple. One of my favorite songs. It's loud. You're not. Oh, I'm not loud. Yeah, You gotta let me know. Is that better? Yeah, so we're doing the check 1 2, check 1 2. Here, I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. Okay, so I got to the office, I did that one, and then I did Little Mermaid one. Let's take a look at the Little Mermaid one.
I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Oh, feet. I wanna be where the
So that one was particularly fun, and funny enough because obviously on the shot where I'm like feet, I gotta get the foot in the air. So I'm like, wearing a skirt, trying to do this, and I'm literally out of breath by like the fourth take. Yes, it took like 4 takes. Because I kept putting the foot like out of frame and stuff. But anyway, so just trying some different things and then looking to see what you guys are responding to. Because at the end of the day, my mission statement for Top Music Attorney is just to help anyone and everyone in the music business who needs help with their music career, their music businesses, their record labels. Like, that's what I'm doing. Let's get you, let's explode your social media following. Let's get you some money. Let's get you on tours. Let's do all of the things. But in between, it's kind of fun to do some of this more entertainment focused content. So, in any case, I was like, why don't we just go through? And I went on TikTok. So, for example, I just went on TikTok and I was looking at, if you put in lawyers of TikTok, generally what comes up, and I can already see that there's, some of these guys that I've seen before, and they do a lot of they'll post a video talking about or showing some kind of crime that was committed, and then they go, "What was the crime?" And oh, I don't know. And then they'll do a follow up, and that's cool. That's cool. So I was like, let's watch some things and see what we think. So I want your guys' feedback. So we have this piece of advice.
Hey, I'm a lawyer, and this is the best piece of advice a lawyer can give you. Treat text messages and emails like a judge or a jury will read them one day. This is a ex-spouse, a baby mama, a business situation.
Okay.
Treat text messages and emails like a judge or a jury will read them one day, because that's going to prevent you from writing crazy stuff that can be used against you. Follow us for more legal tips. Hey, I'm a lawyer.
Okay. So in that case, that was just like a hard legal teaching kind of video. So we should have like a system for voting. Do we do like a yay or a nay? Do we like it? Do we not like it? Was it boring? So at a minimum, give me like a thumbs up or a thumb down in the chat. Let's try Lawyer Diaries. Let's see what Lawyer Diaries has to say. Me after defending my clients in criminal court all day. Okay, so basically just, transforming into less lawyerly baddie. I get it.
Yes.
All right, I was double checking. I was double checking in case I missed something. Okay, so on the becoming a baddie after criminal court all day, yay or a nay. And it actually looks like this guy did the same thing, like literally right beside it. So let's see what he did. Me after defending my clients all day. Yeah, we all just copy each other, don't we? Although she just took down her hair. So he's unbuttoning. He's putting on some jewelry. Okay, simple. So a part of kind of my content creation best practices is that, I'll see something, especially when it's that simple. So you just save the audio. I mean, between the two, I think look at that. His got 19 million plays and hers got 2.6 million plays. So, I mean, that's, a good thing just to kind of think about when you're making content. Look at something that has performed well. Just because it's viral doesn't mean you have to do it. But if it's that simple and it's really more about the text, that's something easy that you can execute on, right? And if you're in a different profession, maybe you are a nurse or you're a secretary or a student of some kind. I mean, it's the same thing. You're like transforming into your more casual or cool version. Okay, so let's go back. Let's see. Red flags. Red flags in a lawyer. Oh, goodness.
What are some of the biggest red flags for a lawyer?
For real? So for real, number one is a lawyer that practices like every area of law. That's like scary.
Okay, so a big red flag is if you get a lawyer that practices law in every single one. And I'm actually going to agree with her on that, because when you have someone who's not super focused on something, that means they probably don't have a ton of experience in one given area. And anytime you're hiring someone for a very specific purpose, right, to review your contract, to defend you in a criminal case, whatever it is, you want them to really be an expert on that one thing. So I agree with that.
Number two is a lawyer that has no staff. There's just no way they can do really well if they're doing it all. And number three,
I get what she's saying. If you don't have a staff, it just means you're newer, probably, right? Because you normally don't have money to pay people. So I would just take that more as if you're just super new, then I might be less interested. You know, I don't want you to operate on me if this is your second surgery. You feel me?
if they say like, oh yeah, I've never handled a case like this before, but they're excited to take the case.
What are some of
All right, that's fine. Red flags. Morning routine. Who wants to know about a lawyer's morning routine? This has 500,000 views on it.
A morning as a New York City lawyer who is almost 30, and on this morning I've been realizing that I never had that phase in your 20s where you're supposed to go absolutely feral. Move to a new city, room with your friends, and have a time. As I look back on the last 10 years, I spent so much of my time and energy laser focused on becoming this New York City lawyer. I know the grass is always greener, but I am curious if others have felt the same way, and if you have, are you planning to live that era out now? A morning as a New York City lawyer who is...
All right, so I don't really see you guys going crazy in the comments about any of this content. All this stuff is fine. So, you know, offering a perspective, a day in the life. I've done a day in the life videos. Those usually do pretty well. I think people are just, we're all curious to see what other people do, especially if they're in different industries than us. So, interesting stuff. So, what I would like to do, and hello to those of you who have joined, as always, be sure to leave a comment letting us know where you are checking in from. And so what I want to do real quick is I just want to transition into talking real fast about limited liability companies. So what I want to go into is if you ever start an LLC to protect yourself, to run your business, there's a lot of stuff that comes into play. And there's a lot of mistakes that I'm seeing and red flags that, you know, can be avoided. So let me pull this up. I'm going to give you a rundown of the critical mistakes that people make when starting their LLCs. I'm an entertainment attorney of 9 years. I've done this a lot. I've started my own businesses and I've helped numerous people over many years do the same. So the first critical mistake that entrepreneurs and business owners make is that they don't get an EIN. After you register your limited liability company, your LLC, you gotta go and get an EIN, which acts as kind of the tax number for the company. And the reason why we care about this is because you have to use it on things like different tax forms, but in particular when it comes to opening a bank account. Now, if you are opening a bank account for the business, which you absolutely have to do, it should be register the LLC, get your EIN, and open a business bank account. So if you don't open the business bank account, what happens is that now you are really exposing yourself to potential issues down the road because, you know, someone might sue you and you'll say, well, you sued my LLC. The LLC protects me individually, so you can't get to any of my personal assets. Then that person, through what's called the discovery phase of the litigation, they can go in and they'll go, okay, I see you don't have an EIN. I see you never got a business bank account. And so then they can potentially make the argument that you kind of have a shell corporation, so to speak. And if that's the case, then through piercing the corporate veil, we can basically get to you personally. This is how we get to your personal accounts, your car, your house, and that's really not good for you. So it's extremely important for many reasons, but not getting your EIN is a huge mistake, and it's something that you absolutely need to do. How do you do it, you ask? Well, you just go to irs.gov. For me, I just Google EIN IRS, and it'll bring up the exact link that you need to go through. It takes less than 10 minutes. They just need things like your name and business name and just some few basic details, and then you get it right away electronically. So don't miss this incredibly important step. Next, when it comes to the critical mistakes with LLCs, the next one is just going to be not knowing the different tax forms and what to put on them. So where I want to start with this is that if it's just you and you started your LLC, typically if you are filling out, let's say, bank information, right? You started an online account, they want you to connect your bank, and then they go, we need you to fill out the tax forms. So it's typically going to be like a W-9 or a W-2, but it's always the same information. What's the name of the business? So you put the LLC name, and then it'll say, what is the entity type? So when you see the entity type, you'll see things like corporation, C Corp, S Corp, and it might say single member LLC or LLC, and it will usually say something like sole proprietor. So the actual definition of a sole proprietorship is that you're still unincorporated. So if I'm like, hey, I'm starting a cupcake company and I start using a name, Crystal's Cupcakes, and I never actually register a LLC, then I'm just a sole proprietor, but I still am, doing business as, I'm still pretending to kind of be a company. So I would use a sole proprietor in that instance. What you typically want to put, if you're just the person owning the company, is if it has single member LLC, put single member LLC. It's just you. If obviously there's more than one of you in the LLC, then you just put a limited liability company, and that's it. So then the other thing you need to think about is when it comes to having your taxes at the end of the year, right? I'm not an accountant, so anything that I say in here in regards to accounting and financial stuff, I'm not your accountant. Please get your own separate counsel, but I've just done this a lot of times, and so I've just kind of seen what my clients have done, and I know what I've done. So when you file your taxes at the end of the year, when you have a limited liability company, if it's just you, then you are essentially having a pass-through, and you don't have to do like a separate filing for the business, which is great news. So when you file, you'll see that on your federal tax form, there's something called Schedule C. Schedule C is where it's going to say, hey, where did you get, the money from? What was it for? And so you just disclose where you got all your money, and then you pay taxes on that income, right? So Schedule C is only for one person, if you are a sole proprietor or if you have a single member LLC. So then the next question, well, what if you have multiple members? So that form is a 1065. And so all you need to know is you'll have the 1065 for the partnership, and then what you generate are called K1s, right? So you generate a K1, and so if John and me, we're partners, we file our 1065, and then we each are going to get K1s from the business, okay? And that is our separate income. So then on our personal tax return for our Schedule Cs, I'll say, I made $1 million this year, you made $1 million this year, wasn't that great of a year, we'll do better next. And you note it on Schedule C, all right? So that's number 2 when it comes to critical mistakes. It's just putting in the wrong information because you're like, I have an LLC, I don't know what to put. So usually the confusion happens between the sole proprietorship and then the single member LLC. So at least now you know the distinction, but then my PS and caveat on that is sometimes they don't give you enough options. So the way that they've set up the form is kind of wonky. So we'll say either you're a corporation or your sole proprietorship. So sometimes you have to make a judgment call on what fits best for what you're doing, but at least now you know the distinction. All right, so next on our list of the critical mistakes that happen before you start an LLC and even after you start the LLC, number 3, you never get an operating agreement. So, when we say, what's the contract for the company? Who runs the company? If you have partners, who gets to make decisions, who's getting distributions, who's getting paid from the entity, all those things come up. And if you don't have an actual written contract, then what you have is a verbal agreement. If you have a verbal agreement, then a lot of problems can happen. So it's very important that you get an operating agreement into place, including if it's just you. So if you get your contract for the company into place before anyone else ever joins you or becomes partners, then you've already set the rules for the company into place. So it's really good to do it, and it is required in some states. It depends on where you live. But some states do require that you actually have an operating agreement with your LLC. So either way, please make sure, get an operating agreement and do it right away. Next, now let's talk about your good standing. So after you file and you set up the LLC and you're rocking and you're rolling and you're making your millions, that's great. You have your business bank account, you're filing your taxes, you're filling in the tax forms, right? I'm so proud of you. Well, let's talk about what happens if you default on the LLC. How do you maintain the LLC's good standing, which is what it's typically called? Well, the answer is it depends on where you live. So in some states, like for example in California, they want you to pay some money every year just for having the LLC. So you want to make sure you know what is specific to your particular state. So there might be fees, there might be some kind of annual report that you need to file. And some states are great. Like for example, the state of Arizona, you don't have to file anything annually. So after you register and you get set up, you just kind of exist in perpetuity until you decide to close down shop. So just make sure you know if there's any kind of special requirements in your particular state, because what happens if you don't pay a fee, you don't file an annual report, then, sometimes the state can essentially just shut you down, or they will ding you, you'll get fees. So if you've gone through the effort to set up your LLC and get the bank account and get your operating agreement and do all the things, make sure you are, in fact, staying on top of it every year if that is required in your state. All right. And then when it comes to these critical mistakes of limited liability companies, please make sure that your statutory agent information is up to date. So, each state is different, but typically you set up your company through the Secretary of State. All right. So through the Secretary of State, you will say, here's all the things, here's who owns it, and then here's the statutory agent. The statutory agent is the person or company that is designated to accept legal service if ever there are legal papers. So it's the publicly disclosed name and address of the person who's going to accept things like lawsuits, for example. So what can happen is that, if you're like, oh, I'll just do it, or I will use my mom's address, right? Because maybe you're living with mom early in the business, okay? And, you move. So you need to make sure you actually update the statutory agent information just to make sure that you're actually receiving important papers and lawsuits and all the things that could potentially be coming at you. So if you are looking for some help, including in setting up your LLC, including in getting an operating agreement, please make sure that you contact a law firm. I do this all day long. I'm happy to help you, but even if it's not me, please go to someone. Please get some help. My firm is Delgado Entertainment Law. Please like this video if you found it helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, guys, there you go. I'm educating you on the LLCs today. Let me go back to the chat. Sorry, I get all focused, and I forget about the chat. Makes good sense. Excellent. I would hate that I say something and I need to start over and better explain myself, because that happens too. All right, what's going on? We got LinkedIn popping. We got YouTube. So we're live on multiple platforms. As always, the home hub is, of course, Top Music Attorney on YouTube. But guys, I also started a YouTube channel for the law firm. I don't know if you saw this, but I'm excited. It's Delgado Entertainment Law. And I think we have like 18 subscribers already. Just killing the game. Killing left, right, and center. And I think we could be at 20 by next week. You never know. So if you would like to be lucky number 19 and or 20 with your multiple accounts, go subscribe on Delgado Entertainment Law. I have released one official long form video, and that's where I'm getting, the law firm is where I'm just going to go super deep on stuff that you gotta know. So like, for example, the video that we released was about copyright, but specifically talking about statutory damages. Because, you gotta have a copyright. I talk about why, how it works, but then I go and deep dive a little bit into how the damages work, because you can totally get screwed on basically getting paid if someone came, stole your film, stole your song, stole whatever. And if you haven't done your due diligence to timely register your copyright, then you might be barred from being able to seek some pretty juicy damages in the upwards of $150,000 per claim. So yeah. Samantha on YouTube watching. Oh, I love it. Please go binge watch all the videos. Oh, great. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that you guys, do your own homework. I'm always like, you should always just be learning every day when you're brushing your teeth, when you're feeding the cat, like have something playing like an Audible book or Top Music Attorney video, but basically just have that as an opportunity to continue your learning. Because if you learn every day, you grow every day, you'll feel more satisfied as a person, but you can work towards making more money, making your career more successful by just putting in 20 minutes every day. Eric said he's going to start an editing service LLC. I love it. And you absolutely should. And so when you do contracts with clients in the future, you would just use the LLC, right? So you don't sign individually as yourself. You use the company. But again, it acts as this wonderful liability shield in case something happens. 20 subs. Let's go. Oh, did we hit it? Did we officially hit it? Someone tell me the good news. I'm excited. Yes, it's at Delgado Entertainment Law on YouTube. We also started a TikTok for the law firm as well. So, I've been basically making 2 verticals of content. I do like all my stuff in the music realm as, Miss Crystal and my music. And then the law stuff. And I've never really done separate content for my law firm. But my law firm covers everything, not just music. So we do film stuff and we work with writers and we do business sales. We represent businesses. We do a lot of intellectual property. So we do all the things. And I'm like, you know what? I think I need to talk about all the things. Keith's going to go subscribe. I love it. Oh, no. Look at this. Oh, it's so tough when you go viral like overnight. Oh. You guys are just great. Thank you. Ashley says, do you need to be making money to start an LLC? No, you don't. And in fact, you want to, because you making money or not making money has nothing to do with the concern about your potential liability, right? So if we're setting up the limited liability company to protect you and your personal assets, because maybe your, valuable stuff is not your income currently. But again, it's on what time horizon are we looking at this? Just because you set up your LLC and then in 6 months you have some little, burst of income because you sell some products or you have a, certain release. In that time horizon, you want to make sure you protected yourself legally. And then whatever happens after that, you're set and you're good to go. So you definitely want to do that regardless of what's going on in the money area. But obviously, after we get you legally protected, let's focus on how we actually make you money. Let's see. Princess America says, USA is a tax haven. Oh, you're gonna get tax questions here. Yeah, I'm not even gonna touch this. I gave you guys the toe in the water. Of course, any accounting stuff, I can't give you advice, and it can't be deemed as advice, but I can at least tell you, in my experience, kind of what I do. Oh, shoot. Look at this. 30 subscribers. Ugh, you guys make me so happy. I need like a celebration explosion thing. AI. Where's my AI? Amazing. All right. So, someone sent this to me. I don't know if I'm going to get like a copyright strike on this live stream, but we're gonna watch it really fast because it just kind of made me smile. All right, and again, as always, let me know as far as audio if you can hear this. So this is from America's Got Talent, but this teacher, John Wines, there he is. Oh, that's not him. That could be him. There we go. So Mr. John, he goes on the show, and I think that he's, to play the guitar. So he does this little intro. I won't play the whole thing. It's a 6-minute video. But they ask a question. Let me see if I can just hit this.
I'm from the south coast of the UK.
All right.
Wow.
Welcome.
UK, mate.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a music teacher.
Oh.
I used to be an electrician.
Yes.
But 20 years ago, a chance meeting with someone said, you should go into teaching. And I did, and now I'm here, and I can't believe it.
Love it.
It's incredible.
And how old are your students?
Ages of 5, 6, right the way up to 18.
Where would you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Still.
Okay, so he goes on. He's like, I've told my students their dreams can come true. They just have to trust in themselves. So we're already kind of liking this guy. Let's see what happens. A part of me at this point, I'm like, feedback. It's kind of cringe. I'm like, this is so part of it. This is where I'm gonna get a copyright. All right, really fast before we continue. So one of the questions that comes up is, well, so he's obviously playing, we'll just say, when we see these hit songs on these popular shows, how can they just play the songs? Did they go to the label? Did they go to the artist? Did they go to the band? Did they get permission? So what typically happens on these shows is that they obtain what are called master use licenses. And so it's going to be in cooperation with getting a license from like BMI or ASCAP, which are the US representatives of performance rights. And so basically these shows have to get these huge umbrella licenses, and then they have to go and check and make sure that the songs are covered so that when their performers come on and do a performance, that the show's not going to get sued to filth. But anyway, let's keep going. I love that they're just, highlighting. I mean, a skill is a skill, right? And that's the whole point of like being in the music business and understanding that your age doesn't matter, right? Weight doesn't matter, skin color, like nothing really matters other than you having a baseline of a skill, working really hard to always be improving that skill, and then packaging it, right? And even for him, I'm pretty sure from this exposure and the millions and tens of millions of people who saw this, that now we're just going to be crazy fans of his just because he's like fantastic. And he seems like a super nice guy and he's likable. And I'm sure his social media following is going to blow up. And so he has an opportunity. And that opportunity was essentially given by this platform that he went on the show. It went well, because obviously you can go on these shows hoping to do well, and then they essentially just make fun of you, which we've also covered on this show. But now he has a massive flow of attention, and it's up to him on what he wants to do with that, right? So now I really hope that he kind of gets a team together, and he gets someone to help with his social media, and he just starts posting videos of him playing the guitar, and maybe he already is. I've had a lot of people who are like overnight successes, but obviously he's very talented. He's been doing this for a long time, and they were just doing it for a long time. And then opportunity struck. So in any case, I thought we would just watch that together. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I thought that was cool. Chris recognizing him. What's up, Chris? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you, if you saw the show, but what's awesome, he's incorporating the singing parts into that. He didn't simply learn the regular guitar portion. Genius. Awesome. Okay, so as far as, what's going on in entertainment news, I'm always going to want to touch on this. Now, before I do, I just got to hit one other thing. So someone said this to me earlier, and I felt like as we're in the conversation about like social media and marketing, this is just so on point. So just watch this with me for a second. I'll make this bigger so you can see. There we go.
I am processing the most triggering breakup I've had in 9 years.
Wait, so my entire family just died in a plane crash? No, sorry, I just don't really know what to say. Could I actually call you back later?
So obviously he's making fun of this chick.
I am processing the most triggering breakup I've had in 9 years.
Wait, so my entire family just died in a plane crash? No, sorry, I just don't really know what to say. Could I actually call you back later?
Well, you gotta make sure you capture the emotion, right?
I am processing the most triggering.
I have the same thought whenever I see this stuff, and it's take it for what it is, when people are sharing and being vulnerable, you want to encourage that, but sometimes you're like, Anyway, that made me laugh. So now let's go on to actual serious what's going on in music business news. Influencers with their fake reactions. All right, so let's see. What do we got? We have an update on what's going on real quick with Twitter. I got to show you this picture. So Consequence of Sound is reporting Twitter sued or was sued. And in fact, let me restart that. Twitter has been sued for $250 million by a music publisher for copyright infringement. Now, this is the picture that they put in the article that I'm reading, and it just made me laugh a little bit. But in any case, what's going on is, it's the National Music Publishers Association, and they filed a copyright claim against Twitter saying there's basically widespread violation of songwriters' rights, of which we represent. And Twitter, by the way, you're not doing anything to monitor it. So therefore, you're liable for the infringement that is happening on your platform. And while this is all, it's true, I'm with you when it comes to representing songwriters and making sure that they get paid. I guess I would just go to practically, like, what are you expecting Twitter to do? Now, I mean, if you had maybe some more advanced technology, because as you guys know, there's, content ID tracking. It happens, we know, pretty aggressively on like YouTube, right? So I even said earlier in this live stream, just because I played something that's copyrighted by someone else and I'm doing it for reaction purposes, I'm allowed to do that. But in real time, YouTube has content ID, and so they're going to track it. They're going to be like, she's using it, and we're just going to assume she's using it without permission or fair use or anything like that. And so I'm going to have to deal with this after the show. But in any case, you can put things into place, but it makes it incredibly difficult for users on the platform who otherwise might actually have the ability to use the copyrighted content. Okay. So, a part of my initial feeling and pushback on this is I love that you are fighting for songwriters' rights. But first of all, why is it just Twitter? Is there something particularly different about Twitter than any other social media platform? Because obviously on, for example, TikTok, on, for example, Facebook, which owns Instagram, we have widespread copyright infringement happening on multiple levels. And what the social media platforms are doing to try to remedy this is that they are just coming up with deals with the record labels. and also with like, licensing companies. So they're just getting licenses to have the music so that way you can add them, right? You've seen add music to your stories, add music to your feed, add music to your, your videos. But obviously there's the ability to upload stuff as well. So I think that's where things are getting mixed, or I was going to say missed, but then people are also mixing, different and sampling and doing different things. So it's really, really tough to monitor this because of how fast technology moves, how fast social media evolves. And so, they're suing for $250 million. And I'm curious to see what kind of happens with this. So they said, quote, Twitter knows perfectly well that neither it nor users on the Twitter platform have secured licenses for the rampant use of music being made on its platforms as complained of herein. So this is from the lawsuit. Twitter's unlawful conduct has caused and continues to cause substantial and irreparable harm to publishers, their songwriters, clients, and the entire music ecosystem. Okay, so what do you guys think? Let me go back. Sorry, I'm behind on the chat here. So Chris says, like when you had to whitelist your own songs when you're doing lives on. Yes, that's right. I mean, we even have copyright issues when playing our own music on our live streams, on our social media. So, in any case, this is something I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. What do you think? Leave a comment down in the comment section below. All right, so moving on. I saw something else that was, let me see if I can find this. Sorry, I have the actual articles open, and so when I have the articles open, the ads just start taking over my computer and it starts crashing very slowly. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Oh yeah, so there's this other update, and I won't make it an official segment, but basically we've been talking a lot about like Livenation and Ticketmaster, right? So we had the Taylor Swift tour announced, and when it was announced and tickets went on for pre-sale, they not only sold out, but people who had been promised certain incentives, additional little add-ons and merch, they weren't able to get what they were promised. And so there was like claims and lawsuits being filed left, right, and center. And then there was another issue because people would go and resell their tickets. For example, there was someone who was reselling their ticket for like $50,000. So fans were just really upset, right? They couldn't get a ticket. And if they could go get a ticket, it was just really outrageously overpriced. So in any case, Livenation and Ticketmaster, they're implementing an all-in pricing. So they've confirmed they're implementing the all-in pricing for customers, assuring companies that surprise and undisclosed fees while purchasing tickets isn't going to happen anymore. So that's not necessarily addressing the issue of resellers, we'll call them, but as far as, surprise fees and things like that, which sometimes you feel like you have no choice but to pay, in that there's a time sensitivity, right? So you're in it, you're in the queue, everyone's rushing to try to get the ticket, and you don't want to lose that position. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we have like a $200 admin fee for processing this. And so it's a take it or leave it. So I think that's what they're trying to deal with here. Obviously, there are greater issues in the discussion, but that's something. And then also, what was it? So they're like the Ticketmaster monopoly, and this has been debated, and everyone's kind of giving their 2 cents on it. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments down in the comment section below. No gavel tonight? No, I got the gavel. We got the gavel. Leave your comments down below. There we go. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate your guys' nice comments. You're great. All right, so I am intentionally keeping the show short tonight. As you noticed, we didn't have that Orko on with us, so I just kind of hit all of the things myself. But I always want to check in. I want to make sure that we are consistent, and there's a chance we may not do the show next week, so it was really important that I check in with you guys. So on the wrap up, here was what you're going to do. Make sure you're following. And, not only Top Music Attorney if you are in the music business, because that's where you're getting all of the stuff related to literally helping you on a day-to-day with your music business, with your music career, but then also on Delgado Entertainment Law. So if you are maybe not quite in the music scene and you're just looking for some extra help, I'm going to be putting some love into that. So I don't know where we're at with the subscribers on Delgado Entertainment Law YouTube. I'm gonna do a search right now. Cause I don't know. I feel like we hit a new milestone here, which is pretty cool. Let's see if I can find it really fast. But anyway, yeah, so Delgado Entertainment Law is now on all platforms. Yeah, we're at 30. Yeah. Hey. All right, guys. I love your faces. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Top Music Attorney. You can definitely listen to the podcast while you're driving, while you're working out. Just search Top Music Attorney, and Spotify is my favorite place to listen for sure. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next show. Love your faces. Talk to you soon.